But that is the actual mummy of.
Let's start this over.
Are saying that the Egyptians uproar all over social media because, of course, people are saying that the Egyptians were black. Other people are trying to say that they were connected to Mediterranean people. Some even go as far as to talk about the Greeks with Cleopatra, not realizing that Ramses was around during the 1200 BC time
1200
frame,
BC,
and the Greeks didn't conquer Egypt
the Greeks
until around the 1st and 2nd century BCE.
First
So
and
we
second.
got a good 1,000 years difference. Now, where they're trading amongst people throughout the Mediterranean, sure. But would the people of Egypt have been like this, been white, been Caucasian?
Were they?
It is almost assuredly a hell no. Plus, this is a hoax. This mummy, which does look very similar to the mummy of Pharaoh Ramses II, is a known hoax. And guess what? You can go and buy it because that's where it came from. It comes from this company called Props and Figurines. They made what they call a mummy that is as close to what the mummy of King Ramses actually looks like, because we do have pictures of the mummy of King Ramses, which are close to this, but no cigar. You see, this is the actual picture of Ramses II when his mummy had to be shipped to France because there was some type of moss that was growing on it. And in order to save the mummy, they shipped it to France to have some work done on it. But one interesting thing, when they shipped it to France, yes, they found that there was cocaine in the system. And they, of course, that sparked the whole thing about.
Hold on. Y'all trying to tell me Ramses II from 2000 BC before Christ or something like that? That nigga snorting powder? That nigga ate cocaine? That's probably why they found moss in his stomach. That nigga ate, that nigga was snorting, doing lines. Oh, let's finish hearing this. This shit's crazy.
How did cocaine get there, since it's indigenous to America? And many people, oh, Egypt was really America, and so on and so forth, because they want to ignore the fact that the ancient Egyptians' boats could actually make it to the Americas. So there's the possibility of trade, and West Africans had the possibility of trade, and that West African trade could have came to Egypt, or the Egyptians could have went there themselves. And there's also the stories with the Australians, the true Australians, that they were visited by the Egyptians. So it sparked all that controversy. So any other additional test done on the body was summarily a hell no. But that is the actual mummy of Ramses. And on the side profile, he does have these types of features that some people say are only Europeans. I mean, he doesn't have a big nose, but he has small lips. And I've often been picked on as growing up as a kid for having small lips for a black man. If I shave this off, this upper lip, that thing just disappear. I actually trim it a little higher, when I'm trimming it. But mainly that's to keep the hair out of my mouth. So many people have looked at it and said that, but you can tell even with the mummy that there is a certain level of melanin that he had in his skin, if anything, because understand cultural differences. The wealthy didn't work out in the sun. That was what poor people did. In the same way, we can see that today. The higher paid jobs are usually done by people inside of a building. The lower paid jobs are usually done by people who are outside. So that mentality of the higher income or the higher caste being inside and the lower caste or the lower income being outside hasn't changed that much in thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So is it possible that over time these Egyptians could have been a little bit lighter than the average Egyptian who's out there working in the fields, because most people were agrarian? So the most likely look, AI generated look of Ramses would have been more like this guy, to which I know quite a few black men in Atlanta who look like that guy.
It's not in powder.
I know quite a few of them. But to give you even more information about this entire region, you have to understand that prior to the Ramses II becoming the pharaoh over Egypt, it wasn't as if Egypt was always in the same situation. You had the Hyksos that came in and invaded, and the Egyptians were a little bit further south, and then the Kushite Sudanese people were south of that. But when you go back even further, it was those original Kushite Sudanese people that came up and conquered all of Egypt and became the Egyptians' kings. And then later on, once they started utilizing the title Pharaoh after Akhenaten, that those would have been, the lineage would have come from Africa and some from the Levant, where the Hyksos came from. Now, before anybody lose their shit about that part, Ramses was not a Hebrew king. That was another comment that I saw too many times. Because these people want to proliferate the idea that Noah's kids, Ham, had Mizraim, and Mizraim becomes the progenitor of all Egyptians, when archaeology demonstrates completely that no, that's not where these people came from. The fact of the matter is, the Egyptians existed long before a Noah story ever could have happened. The Noah story supposedly happened in and around 2200, 2400 BCE. During that time frame, the Egyptian civilization had already been around for 2,000 to 3,000 years. There's king's lists, there's architecture, there's archaeology that demonstrates that they had been there, that there was no interruption, and they continued through their lines. Granted, you have the change of from the Kushites in coming up and taking over in and around like 4,000 or 5,000 BCE, but there is no zero Hebrew in the royalty of the Egyptian people. The Egyptian people did not come from Hebrew people. The whole Noah story is a facade, is a lie. It's something that they told to give themselves history, because they had no history when they separated from their other Canaanite brothers in and around 1300 BCE. So just because the Bible says it doesn't make it true, especially when archaeology shows that it's a complete lie. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable.
All right. Why do y'all give a fuck to be? I mean, the dude smoke cocaine. I mean, the dude snort cocaine, dog. You black or white, whatever the fuck. Like, I ain't from these motherfuckers. Man, I'm from like, my lineage go back to Haiti and shit. I ain't from this nigga snorting powder. I don't snort powder. Why do people wanna, like, y'all ain't gonna never know. Y'all ain't gonna never know who the fuck was the first, and who gives a fuck who was the first. Oh, y'all fighting on who was the first. That's what a lot of people problem is. But I already know. The reason why I don't fight to find out who is the first, all you have to do is look at yourself. Look how the black people are built. Look at what's being done to you. Look at that they killing you for body parts. Look at how they fucking your woman. Every story that they say the angels come down to fuck, they fucking your woman. They ain't fucking these Chinese women. They ain't fucking these Aboriginal women. They ain't fucking these Caucasian women and shit like that. They fucking our women. You know what I'm saying? Our women. But motherfucker, you know, you see our women having white kids, our women having Chinese kids. Everybody gotta fuck our woman to survive. So who gives a fuck who Ramses was or first or whatever? That nigga is snorting powder. That nigga was eating cocaine. I ain't from that lineage. You know what I'm saying? So when y'all sitting here, man, listen, all you gotta do is believe in yourself, and then you shall see you come first. The first person that believe in themselves, they become first. The people that don't believe in themselves, they come last. So all these people that's trying to be the first person, man, come on, man, you can't outrun. Like, there's so many proof of who's first. The way you play football, the way you run track, the way you dance. Listen, there's only two colors I see this in this world. I see black and I see white. I see the original black and I see white. The white have sex with the original black, and then they go out there and then they don't want to fuck with the black because they know they need the black. They only come to the black is when they need the black, and then they go. They come back, they need some black, and then they go. You notice some of these white guys are just fucking these black girls and getting them pregnant and just leaving? Because that's how they keep their generation going. Who gives a fuck if Ramsey was black or white or whatever? They still need us. You see all these people fighting, free Palestine, free all this shit. Why the black people ain't fighting? Because that shit don't have nothing to do with us. Because when we have to fight, I'm talking about when all the black people around the world have to fight, who you think gonna win? You think what, these Arabs, these whatever, these Arabic motherfucker, those Arabic people, they're black kind of looking white mix kind of looking weird people. That's it. Y'all fighting for Ramsey. Ramsey was a crackhead. That nigga had moth in his balls. But I'm done. Ramsey the second BCE, before Christ entered. Before Christ exists. Or before Christ, let me see what I could use the E with. Evaporated. Come on, man. All these people changing these stories and shit. Who gives a fuck? Let them have that shit. Because they still gonna need us. They still gonna need our body parts and killing our kids and shit like that. It's about time we start whooping all their ass. But no, I'm not gonna bring no violence. Get at your boy and I'm out. Willie Dread. I ain't up here. Y'all get my motherfucker. Black Jesus, Willie Dread. Black Jésus avec nous tout. And them hoes said, Amen.